Oh, Steve and Larson! Don't you dare be sour. Clap for yourselves and feel the power. Yes. And all you people out there, you're watching Going In Raw with Steve and Larson.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you can be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. A lively Smackdown tonight, which saw the return of Aleister Black with a little animated origin story. His redebut hopefully will be sooner than later in the ring, but of course,
hopefully you won't have to spend another year in that room reading from that book.
I hope not, man. But I mean, probably the biggest news item coming out of SmackDown, of course, is Daniel Bryan will be moving on from SmackDown after he loses to the head of the table next week in Daniel Bryan's final Universal title opportunity. If he loses that, he will have to remove himself from SmackDown for life. Larson, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, at least as long as Roman Reigns is there. So I guess that's what he said is you know, I don't want to see you on my show.
Right.
So if Roman Reigns would ever move to Raw, then I guess in theory, Daniel Bryan could go back to SmackDown. But, you know, given all the talk Daniel Bryan has done of late about winding down his full-time in-ring career, connect the dots. This seems to be a way to in kayfabe to wind down his time on the blue brand. There's not going to be a whole lot of drama. Well, there will be because Daniel Bryan is really good, and so there will be drama.
He'll make you believe.
We know Roman Reigns is going to win, and it'll be a hell of a match. I guess we could speculate on what might be next for Daniel Bryan. Maybe depending on when his contract is up. You know, this could be them just saying, all right, if you want to, you know, write out the rest of your contract, take it out with your family, sure. Or if this is a way to get him to Raw, get him to, hopefully, NXT, give him an opportunity to fulfill some of his personal dream matches before his contract expires. So I'm kind of hoping.
Yeah, like speaking of his contract, the last we sort of understood, and I forget exactly where this was, but he might have said it. He's very open about, you know, what he's doing and where he's at. I'm pretty sure his contract is up late summer, early fall, like around September, I think.
I think so too. Because when he re-signed with WWE, it was right because he made some comments I thought about if he hadn't. No, the timing wasn't right for him to show up at All Out or something like that. All in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds familiar. I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be kind of boring. And so like they made a very obvious, they made this very obvious that this was about him not being on SmackDown. Like you said, with Roman Reigns there, but by the end it was punctuated by Michael Cole saying he'll have to be away from SmackDown forever. I mean, obviously Roman Reigns probably not going to be on SmackDown forever, but still, whatever. I feel like, you know, Raw is obviously is an obvious road for him. Although you do have names already there, obviously like Drew McIntyre. You got Matt Riddle there as faces. What are the other big faces over there on Raw? Are they lacking in faces? Is that the deal? I mean, honestly, like your suggestion of you know. It's one of those things that, man, I want to be invested in it, but it probably won't happen, him going to NXT, because there's a lot of dream matchups there in NXT.
Yeah. I mean, right now, Braun Strowman's a face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That could change in a week or two.
Yeah. Damian Priest is sort of an up-and-coming face.
Yeah.
I mean, they exist, and I mean, I'm sure, you know... I don't know, like, who's really, besides Drew, and Drew might get that title back at Backlash. You know, I mean, Daniel Bryan being a possible guy for Bob Lashley, but also like we've heard that Daniel Bryan is involved in the creative of SmackDown. Maybe it's like, hey,
I think he said though that he's not as involved as he once was.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe they're prepping him for a move someplace else. He could go to the UK and fight certain guys, names like Tyler Bate or Trent Seven
or Walter,
or even better. Oh man, Walter. Walter's another name that he could face in NXT if he went there. But I mean, honestly, whenever you think about these things, it's usually the most boring answer, and that would be Raw. But man, that would make Raw a million times better immediately if Daniel Bryan's there. Even if the creative's not great, like every time he steps foot in the ring, it's going to be pretty awesome. I thought overall SmackDown was pretty damn good tonight, man. They spent the end of like the culmination of that first chunk of show was like 40 minutes all dealing, and that's the best thing is when any wrestling show sort of weaves in a bunch of different things. So you had Daniel Bryan advocating on behalf of Cesaro to take on Roman Reigns, which of course leads to Jey Uso. And because Cesaro's there, it also has Seth Rollins, who's like, hey, I'm not done with you yet. And so you get all these different guys together, and they have like a really, really fun opening match, which takes us all the way to like 20 minutes till the hour. So
that's usually pretty good when you get a opening segment that actually sets up something of consequence, and you have a match that they give a lot of time to. It turns out to be really good.
And
pretty good way to start a show.
And after that, I mean, they jam packed it with a bunch of other stuff. You had Apollo Crews versus Kevin Owens. You had
that was good.
I mean, I'll be honest. I know a lot of people are kind of not, but Nia Jax versus Tamina. I kind of like that stuff these days. Like this is the two larger opponents in the women's division going at it. I thought
They work stiff.
They do. Yeah, they do.
Their matches are hard hitting.
She dropped a Luthez press on Nia Jax. I thought that was kind of rad.
When Tamina was ramming Nia's head to the barricade on the outside, that looked pretty rough.
Yeah, it did. So yeah, and then now you got, again, talking about weaving in storylines, you got Kevin Owens, Apollo Crews, Big E, and Sami Zayn all sort of in the same scene doing different things with each other. So I think, SmackDown had sort of, leading up to WrestleMania, I felt like SmackDown was kind of running on fumes, but I thought that tonight was actually a really solid, sort of reset.
It was a pretty fun show. Before we get into the beat by beat recap, let's talk about the Aleister thing. I know you're excited about it. I thought by and large it was pretty well done. The animation they obviously spent some money on. Turned out pretty well. I can't help but think whenever I see something like that now about the story that Pritchard told about the Sledgehammer intro for Raw years ago.
Yeah, I know
that Vince tossed in the toilet.
Yeah.
And they had some decent production value for his promo. I don't know if this is a character story that's creation of Aleister, creative, some sort of collaborative thing. Sometimes these kind of more nebulous characters. I mean, he could do Mystique really well. We saw that in NXT. They tried to do Mystique on the main roster, lock him in that room for a year, and that was a turd. That didn't work.
It was clear from the get-go, though, that was sort of directionless, and the fact that with this, they always telegraph it when they put a lot of money into something. Then that they're at the very least going to get them, to the upper mid card. They're thinking at least upper mid card and see where he goes from there.
Well, at least short term, yeah.
To see where it goes.
Yeah. So I guess I don't want to poo poo it because we've had one vignette.
Yeah.
It's just more. It's not about anything in terms of his performance. Like it's a minor quibble. The only thing that bugged me about it was that he had a book. I don't know why he needed the prop with huge letters on it. Something about Dark Father or something like that. It just seemed he didn't need a book to tell the story. Minor quibble.
He had a flash program instead. Flash animation.
Yeah. Have him doing the programming on his laptop. Is characters like this recently, pretty high concept. Outside of maybe the Fiend, which you can debate the success of that. I think in terms of what Bray has brought to the wrestling scene, it's been pretty cool for the most part, but not everybody's into it.
I think the Fiend has been as successful as you could possibly expect.
overall, though, the track record of these type of characters of late WWE haven't been great. So while I'm encouraged, I'm happy he's back. I'm not pessimistic. I'm cautious about it. We'll see where it going from here. If it's week after week of the same vignette, more or less, where he's saying the same thing just with different words, it's going to lose steam real quick.
All right. No, fair enough. I agree with you. How do you handle this? Like in my mind, you know, if the most boring option on the table is what they're going to do, then we're going to see weeks of him squashing the 24/7 division or whatever they have for jobbers. And then he'll step up to, like, I don't know, Rey Mysterio or something, you know, which I really don't want to see. Aleister Black.
Keep him away from Rey Mysterio. We saw that.
I don't want to see
that
him
went
do
nowhere
that at all.
Keep him away from Rey Mysterio. See, here he's obviously a heel in this incarnation.
Yeah, he said that we're all idiots and we're gross. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you do it? Honestly, how do you do it?
Well, we've seen that before.
Kevin,
I'm trying to think of.
Didn't he do a thing with Kevin Owens?
Yeah, we saw that was his last feud before he disappeared.
there's been no like roster turnover really. I mean, Daniel Bryan would be a perfect first guy for him to get rid of, but Daniel Bryan's gone.
I'll toss some names out there for you. You're right, Daniel Bryan. I mean, Kevin Owens would be good, but they had a thing already. Really, here on the SmackDown roster, the one name that jumps out at me is Nakamura.
Oh, that's good. Nakamura,
I mean, last we saw him, he was a face.
Yeah, that's good. That is good.
They'll put on really good matches.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think, I mean, I'm sure that the two have crossed paths before, but not in like a meaty feud. And they didn't cross paths in NXT, and they're both like the most popular thing of their days in NXT. I mean, yeah, you got Cesaro, you got Big E. I mean, maybe Big E takes the title off Apollo Crews, but I don't know. That's a given at this point. They might have Big E mess with Apollo until Cesaro's done, Roman's done with Cesaro, and then feed Big E to Cesaro, you know, heading into the summertime, maybe. I don't know. Without Big E getting that Intercontinental title back from Apollo, because Apollo has all the packaging of a guy who's going to have that title for a little while. You know, he's got the big dude with him.
At the same time, though, they could be doing a thing like this where it's to make Big E the underdog in this situation. So they have Apollo have his heater. You up the odds on Big E getting that title back. So when he does, it's a deal.
Yeah, it's
possible. A huge deal.
It we'll know on the go home to Backlash.
Yeah.
If Big E takes the nail to the head. If that happens, then he's winning the title in Backlash. If not, then I'm not sure that his chances are great. But yeah, Shinsuke is a great name. That's a good one. But beyond that, like, I don't know. I mean, if you do Shinsuke for like a couple months, maybe. But I don't know. They might do a thing where Aleister sort of squashes, I don't know, 205 guys or something for a couple.
Yeah, come
weeks.
Look at the SmackDown roster here, and
not a lot of faces.
The men's division is not that deep.
So many of them were in thrown together. Like you got Gable and Otis. They're in a thrown together tag team. I mean, they're a real tag team now, but they were thrown together because they were singles guys. Yeah. Otis was a tag guy, and then they got him out of that tag team. But yeah, no, Daniel Bryan would have been perfect, but he's going to be gone as of next week, so that's kind of weird.
Yeah, seemingly,
like to introduce Aleister as like a bad guy again. But then you don't want him, you know, if you introduce him as a high-profile good guy, then your wall is Roman Reigns, and that dude is stacking legends left and right. So, yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I feel like, yeah, SmackDown they need like, I don't know, they need an infusion of, like the WWE, I feel, needs infusions of faces. Because even if you look at Raw, like, it's like, that's why they've been doing so many handicap matches. Because it's like a 2-to-1 bad guys to good guys thing. Mm-hmm. That's weird. Mm-hmm. So, Roderick Strong, man, that'd be crazy. That'd be awesome.
Before we continue, here's a word from the sponsor of today's show, BetterHelp. Several years ago, while dealing with severe anxiety, I learned the importance of talking to a therapist, but also discovered that it could be extremely difficult to find the right person to talk to. Today, BetterHelp is providing a safe and private online environment where your needs will be assessed You'll be matched with your own licensed personal therapist.
BetterHelp isn't a crisis line, nor is it self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online, all without ever having to sit in another uncomfortable waiting room.
BetterHelp is dedicated to facilitating great therapeutic matches. Send your counselor messages at any time or schedule regular weekly phone or video sessions, and they've made it free and easy to change therapists if needed.
And you don't have to limit yourself to counselors in your area. BetterHelp services are available worldwide, so you can find the expertise you need regardless of location.
We want you to start living a happier life today. As a Going In Raw listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/raw. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health.
Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw. Anyways, let's just dive into it. Maybe chat or some people in our YouTube comments will have some good ideas as to how that's going to go down. Yes. In any event, Cesaro opens Raw before he can really say anything. Seth Rollins interrupts him, says, "Congratulations, you fulfilled your potential. Do you know why? You know why?" He says, "You were in the ring at WrestleMania with me, and I took you from way down here, and I gave you the night of your life, and I took you to the promised land. Where's my thanks? I haven't heard anything. You plan to be moving on from me? Your sights are set on the Universal title? You gotta be joking me. Nothing is over till I say it is. If Mother Nature and God himself hadn't converged for the rain delay on day one of WrestleMania, throw me off my game. All things being equal, on my worst day, you couldn't beat me again."
And then Cesaro asks Seth if he's having a good day, because Cesaro says, "I'm having a great day, so come on down to the ring and prove, and I'm going to prove that I can beat you right now." Seth starts walking, says, "Maybe tonight I'll teach you a lesson." He's interrupted by Jey Uso. Jey says Cesaro challenged Roman. Roman brushed him off. Doesn't deserve to be in the ring with Roman. Can't beat him. Can't beat Seth. Can't even beat me, Jey Uso, and I'm going to show you that tonight. Seth goes, "Whoa, hold on. Cesaro's got the high ground. How about we work together?" And Jay's like, "All right, we could do that." So they circle Cesaro while Cesaro's in the ring. Daniel Bryan's music hits. He comes down the ramp. He joins Cesaro in the ring, asks Seth and Jey where they're going as they make the way up the ramp.
This was great because he comes out and he says, "Oh, I get it. You didn't come out here for the reasons you said you did. Cesaro wants a Universal title match. Seth, you came out because you're embarrassed and upset that Cesaro beat you." This next part was great. He says, "Jey, let's be honest. You probably just came out here because Roman told you so." And it cut to Jey and he went like that. Like, yeah, that's pretty much it. You called it right. I was dying laughing at that. It was such a great little moment.
Yeah.
He said, "I came out to make sure Cesaro gets what he deserves." He says, "This guy hasn't gotten one break for the Universal title in his whole career. Are you guys going to fight us now? Because I just made some derogatory comments. Is Roman going to come out? Probably not, because he doesn't like to fight. Anyone who wants to fight, come on out." So Roman's music hits. He says, "Daniel Bryan, you're talking about..." Sorry, that was weird. He says, "Daniel Bryan, you're talking about hard work. You should be talking about WrestleMania. I told the whole world, smash him, stack him, pin him. Just like it says on the shirt." He's got a new shirt. Stack, smash him, stack him.
And he points, he goes,
"This is you.
See, this is you. You're the guy at the bottom.
You're the bottom. That means you're a loser." He says, "Cesaro, the fact that you're letting him talk for you makes you a loser. You're top tier losers. Daniel Bryan, you're a Mania main event loser. Cesaro, you're a casino loser because you got bad luck. Bryan, you're out here running your mouth. You're surrounded by people who want to kick your ass." So they go to commercial, they come back from commercial, and a match has been made for a tag match, but they just start brawling.
Well, the thing is, Robin says, "Daniel Bryan, you're there surrounded by people who want to whip your ass. That makes you a stupid loser."
Yeah. Oh, it was great. Just the arrogance really dripping off him was great.
Roman was really good tonight. This tag match was great. They gave it a ton of time. A lot of really cool stuff. Cesaro never got the swing off, I don't think, during the match.
During the match, no, but he got like a million of them after the match. This was a long, I think somebody in chat said there was 3 commercial breaks.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It was never boring. It was, you have 4 of the best workers here. This match was never boring. It was like you got all these guys out there, and yeah, they can carry. I was like, man, is this first segment going to go for like the entire first hour? Because it could have. It was really, really entertaining.
Yeah. So let's pick up from the last commercial break. We come back. Seth and Jay are in control. Daniel Bryan's being isolated. Earlier in the match, Seth hit Daniel Bryan with a buckle bomb, and they were talking about how actually this wasn't even the last commercial break. How that buckle bomb might have re-aggravated whatever injuries Daniel Bryan sustained at Mania due to the concerto he took. So later on, Seth starts talking crap. Daniel Bryan looks for a comeback. They hit the double clothesline, spotting each other. Jay and Cesaro are both in. Cesaro goes on a run, looks for a swing. Jay avoids it, hits Cesaro with the enziguri. Cesaro responds with a springboard uppercut. That gets him a 2 count. He looks for a neutralizer. Jay backdrops him. Cesaro lands on his feet. Pop-up uppercut. Seth breaks up that pin. Then Bryan sends Seth from the ring, hits him with suicide dive. Jay then pushes Cesaro out of the ring, looks for a suicide dive of his own. He's uppercut from Cesaro. Cesaro later on sinks on a sharpshooter on Seth. Jay breaks it up with a super kick. Seth then tags in Jay. He goes up top. Cesaro goes up 2, uppercuts Jay while Seth walks up the ramp saying, I don't need this. I'm Seth freaking Rollins. So then Cesaro hits Jay with a deadlift suplex. Daniel Bryan tags in, hits Jay with a D+ for the win. Afterwards, Daniel Bryan grabs the mic. He calls out Roman, starts taunting him. It's like, you ever going to come out? I thought you would come out and whoop our asses. Where are you? Jay tries to attack him from behind. Instead, he gets the swing from Cesaro. Well, Daniel Bryan's sitting on the top turnbuckle providing commentary.
Oh, it was amazing. It was
great.
So entertaining. It kind of had like house show feel. You know, when they're just out there having fun after the like at the end of a house show. So he's just taunting Roman, like you said. Jay gets in the swing. Bryan starts counting, and of course he's doing the fast count anyways. Pat McAfee's super into it. Cesaro drops Jay with an uppercut after the swing. Daniel Bryan calls Roman, says that Roman's afraid to come out, says they're waiting. Cesaro says, it shows everyone what kind of man Roman is. He claims he's a family man. Daniel Bryan says, well, let's test that theory. Let's see what happens when we swing Jay again and see if Roman really is a family man. So Cesaro starts swinging Jay again. Daniel Bryan's just talking trash, and the swings just keep on coming. Roman doesn't come out, and he says, oh, are you afraid? He says, here's the deal, Roman. You can't beat anyone without Jay's help. And he lists all the examples. You couldn't beat me by yourself. You couldn't beat Edge by yourself. And then he says Kevin Owens
as well. Yeah.
He says, so the bottom line is you're afraid that if Cesaro faces you one-on-one for the Universal title, Cesaro's going to be the new Universal Champion.
After that, Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville are backstage talking things over. Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz enter. Crews is wondering why he has to defend the Intercontinental title tonight. Crews says he shouldn't have to face Big E again. Pearce says, well, there will be a time and place where Big E will get his rematch, his opportunity at the Intercontinental title. However, his opponent tonight is Kevin Owens.
After that, I think we went to commercial, came back. Jay had an interview, said he's tired of the disrespect. He says Cesaro disrespected the head of the table. He's about to be put down.
Like he's asked, how do you feel right now? I feel like I'm about to throw up.
Jay is so good. He is
great.
So damn good in all of this stuff. My God damn, I can't. He said, come on, let's be honest. You're out here because Roman told you to come out here. We had Nia Jax versus Tamina next. Reginald's back. He's got a fancy suit.
Man, that suit looked great.
Who was the guy who used to do it? Was it just Warhol that used to do the comic book inspired stuff with like the large dots?
No, there's
somebody else, right? There was another guy. I forgot his name.
Let me check. It's on the tip of my tongue. I know who it is.
Bird, wasn't it? I forget. Anyways, it looked like that. His suit looked like that. Anyways, this, like you said, this is a physical match.
It's Roy Lichtenstein.
Lichtenstein. There you go. So Tamina at one point drops Nia with the Lou Thesz press, fast hands, but it wasn't the only time she took her down. Did that a couple times. Mid-match, Reginald got on the apron. Shayna was also on the apron, so they were trying to do a distraction thing. He got taken down, so Shayna got booted off the apron. She was pissed off. Nia got distracted, super kick, and rolled up for 3. And And after the match, Shayna gets in there and is trying to explain to Nia, exactly what happened there, but it was just a mess. So it's going to be a couple more roll-up losses for Nia Jax as well. That's going to be the deal.
Yeah. After that, Kevin Owens interview. He says it's been years since he got an Intercontinental title shot. He's thrilled, delighted, surprised. He wasn't expecting the opportunity. He says he'll gladly be the one to knock Cruz off his royal perch. Big E walks in and says, Kevin Owens, you jumped the line. You're a line jumper.
Habitual line jumper.
And Owens knows that. He says, hey, I know. I know. This should be your rematch. But tonight, it's me getting the match, me getting the opportunity. When I win, I'm going to have a lot of fun because it's going to be my title.
I really love this, man. It's two good guys. They're not all lovey-dovey. They've got a history with Kevin Owens in the New Day taking Big E's spot, and then we saw how that turned out.
Yep.
But they might be faces, but they're both hungry for that title.
Yep.
That was really good stuff. Sometimes in WWE, it's like faces just act like they're good. They're pushovers. Anyways, after that, Pierce is looking at his phone, looking like he got a weird text or a picture or something. Daniel Bryan walks in. I don't know what he's looking at. He looked at it like it was, something weird. He's asking about the Roman Cesaro match. He's like, hey, I want this match. What do you think was on his phone? What do you think he was looking at?
I don't want to speculate.
Like maybe somebody in his family sent him a picture of like what they thought was a ghost. And he was like, I don't really.
It's like, no, it's not a ghost. That's obviously someone's reflection.
Shaft of light, maybe,
Yeah.
Or maybe it was a butthole. I don't know. Anyways, Pierce says, yeah, I'm going to try and do what I can to make this match. Daniel Bryan says, do more than try.
Yeah.
Try.
After that, Kevin Owens versus Apollo Crews. Great match here. Early on, Kevin Owens sends Crews out of the ring looking for a tope. Commander Aziz steps in front of Apollo Crews. That allows Apollo Crews to go around, trip up Kevin Owens. He has the advantage for a while. Eventually, though, Sami Zayn makes his way down to ringside, joins commentary. Kevin Owens looking for a superplex. Crews fights him off. Eventually leaps off the top rope right into a super kick. Kevin Owens gets a 2. Crews hits a hot shot on Owens. He follows with a huge clothesline that gets him a 2 count. And then he hits a trio German suplexes, another 2. Kevin Owens evades corner splash, hits a German suplex, his own cannonball, then another 2 count. This finish was pretty cool. So Apollo Crews blocks a stunner, looks for an Olympic slam. Owens escapes that, goes for another stunner. Crews evades that, runs into a super kick, pop-up powerbomb, 2 count. Owens goes up top. Crews rolls out of the ring. So then Owens hits a frog splash off the apron to the floor. He rolls Crews back in the ring. Commander Aziz gets on the apron. Crews rolls up Kevin Owens from behind to get the win. Afterwards, Owens hits Crews with a stunner, and then Commander Aziz comes in and hits Owens with the nail.
Yeah.
And then Sami Zayn dancing over Kevin Owens.
See, dude, that was awesome because it's like it's not what would be typical, which is Sammy like beating him up. He starts dancing over his body.
Taunting him. He's taunting
that was
him.
Great. I don't know. Louis Danger on Twitter said something along the lines of he hopes this leads to a face tag team between these two. And I'm like, that would be awesome. I wonder how you'd get there. But I'd love it. I would love it.
Yeah,
After
totally.
that, we've got a Paul Heyman interview. He says, I respect Cesaro. I love him professionally. How could you not love Cesaro? He is my favorite Cesaro on the planet. Will Roman accept the challenge? Well, customer satisfaction is number one priority on the island of relevance. Here's a spoiler. Tonight, Roman Reigns will give you a direct answer. After that, new SmackDown interviewee Megan Morant interviews Apollo Crews, who says, Aziz is cleaning the tears of Kevin Owens off of the Nigerian nail. He says, my ancestors. He's like, do you hear that? Those are my ancestors partying right now. He goes on a little bit. Big E interrupts, attacks him, throws him around a bunch. He gets sort of taken back by refs and security and whatnot. Aziz finally comes out and says, he says, I left you for 1 second. What happened?
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Then we get the Aleister Black video package. So he's sitting in a room, bunch of candles. He's got a chair. It looks pretty comfy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a pretty comfy chair.
Yeah.
He's and he's sitting in a suit. He's got some kind of larger rimmed, kind of old school looking glasses.
Yeah.
And he
Lots
says,
of smoke in there. Lots of smoke.
Yeah, a lot of smoke.
It was 4:23 days ago. I'm hot boxing.
We shot this 3 days ago. He says, most people aren't honest with you, but he wants them to know the truth. So he opens up his book and reads the first chapter entitled The Dragon. And he tells a story about attending funerals with his father. He says he grew older. His father grew colder and more distant. That's when he was taught not to defeat the dragon, but to become the dragon.
His dad was that dude in Wedding Crashers who would crash funerals. He was Will Ferrell's character.
There you go.
He used to crash funerals looking to score some babes.
And then he starts talking trash about us, the WWE Universe. He's saying stuff like he can never be like us. He is nothing like us, and he'll never help us. We are the monsters. What we do is vile and should be condemned.
Ma, the meatloaf.
My father loves...
I don't know what you're doing. Oh, man. The meatloaf. We want it now. Twinewinder here in chat has it right. So those glasses give Aleister a David Koresh vibe. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
What a weirdo. I don't know what he's doing over there. After that, we had a Dirty Dogs interview. They were asked, who's next? And before they were like, who's next? Well, we've only got 2 other tag teams here. The Street Profits.
They have a match. They have a match later.
Exactly. Street Profits show up, and they were like, when we were champs, these guys had multiple chances. How about us? Dolph says, back of the line. Bayley comes in, breaks it up, and just has an interview herself. She runs down what she refers to as the ungrateful rookie, Bianca Belair. Says, I never got a thank you for helping her get to WrestleMania. At Backlash, I'm taking back what's mine. So, yeah, it was announced earlier in the day that they're having a match at Backlash. Mm-hmm. She says, the title and my spot at the top. And then Montez comes lingering over. Kind of a snitch move here, Larson. He's got his phone on speaker, and he's called up his wife, Bianca Belair. Like, dude, this is not your business. This is your wife's business. Maybe step off. And he's like, hey, honey, Bayley's talking all this mess about you. Confirm Bianca doesn't watch SmackDown. And she's like, oh, okay, I'll be right there. So from commercial.
Well, here's the thing, though. Mm-hmm. The commercial breaks, 2.5 minutes?
Yeah.
So, I mean, she has to be in the building.
She was just in her dressing room, I'm assuming. Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought she was like at home on the couch or something. Then she has to get her gear on and run down there with the title. I don't think that was the case. So, yeah, from commercial, Bianca challenges Bayley to repeat what she just said. Bayley just sort of chumps out, gives her respect, says it'll be an honor to wrestle her at WrestleMania Backlash, then leaves. Bianca goes back to the interviewer, says, well, that was unexpected. Bayley comes back, laughs like an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Bianca's like...
Next, yeah. The 2 other tag teams Steve was talking about, the Mysterios and Alpha Academy. Saw the Mysterios pick up a win.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, really laying a claim that they should get a tag title shot in the near future against those Dirty Dogs. Dolph and Bob Roode. Fun enough match. They're doing a pretty good job of booking Otis. Relatively strong. He still made one pretty significant mistake when he goes to the top rope and Dom just gets away from him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then this time Dom, towards the finish, launched himself onto Otis, and this time Otis caught him, but Dom had some moves waiting for him and
pushed him into the announce table.
Yeah.
Ray hit a 619, a frog splash on Gable. Man, I could watch Gable suplex people all day. Those belly to bellies he was doing.
I know. Great. Yeah, I know. They look so textbook.
Those are great.
Yeah, they look great.
So as Ray and Dom are making the way up the ramp, Cesaro, Daniel Bryan walk down to the ring, go to commercial. We come back. Cesaro says, hey, we're out here. We're waiting to hear your answer. Of course, there's no Roman. And so he says, Roman, you either come out and give us an answer, or we go back there and get an answer.
Mm-hmm.
So after a little bit of delay, Roman makes his way to the ring, gets right in Cesaro's face, says, who do you think you are? Do you think you could be in the ring with me? You don't deserve it. You haven't earned it. The answer is no.
He was pissed.
He was
pissed.
He says, the answer is no, because you'll never be on my level. says the Universal Champion issues a challenge or challenges around here. He just does this. Looks around Cesaro to Daniel Bryan and says, the challenge goes to you. I don't like you. I've never liked you. I'll never like you. But you get one more shot at this next week. And Cesaro is like, you got to take it.
Because Daniel Bryan starts thinking about it. He's like, why are you thinking right now? You have to take this.
Yeah. And then Cesaro hands the mic. And then right as Daniel Bryan's about to talk, Roman says, but when you lose, I never want to see you again. I want you to vanish. I want you to disappear. I don't want to see you on my show ever again. Banish from SmackDown.
Yeah. You're being...
And Daniel Bryan gets right in Roman's face. I accept.
Bad move, Daniel Bryan. You should have said, no, I like being on SmackDown. So, yeah. Next week's SmackDown should be pretty good. And we'll see. I mean, I don't know, dude. They might do a silly thing where Daniel Bryan... Well, no, that's still not going to matter. Cesaro's not going to win. Nobody's going to beat Roman. Like ever.
Anytime soon.
Like I speculate that the person that's going to beat Roman might not even be in the company yet, Larson.
Karrion Kross.
There you go. Yeah, Karrion Kross, exactly. Yeah, Jordan Devlin. Walter. It'd be great if it was Walter.
I mean, it should be Walter.
Yeah.
Walter's someone who should never lose.
Because the mat is sacred. Anyways, let's go ahead and open the floor to some questions. I have a thread right here on the page. I want to shout out real quick. I think we got a new patron here over on the Patreon, patreon.com/Steven Larson. Let's see here. Yeah, Jay Singh, thank you very much.
Thank you very much
for your support. We definitely appreciate it. It's a great way to support Going In Raw. Get access to all of our bonus content. Yeah. So good stuff. Also, there's more. I would bust out I had to reorder the comic books. I packed them all up. They're going to be in the mail first thing tomorrow from last month's patrons.
Awesome.
I don't have another one around here, so I could show you guys what you get. But at $20, you get a Steven Larson comic book. You get an 8x10 that's autographed by us. You get a bunch of stickers. And at $50, I got a new order of the shirts, too, just sitting there, too. So we're all stocked up on shirts. It's a fancy Friendo Club shirt with like blue, orange, and white on it. It looks like $1 million. You can check it all out at the Patreon.
Yeah. Yes.
But we also put up a question thread there, and then, of course, we answer them here on the Twitch chat as well.
Correct. Hey, says Aleister Black sat in a dark room for a year at least. This time they gave him some candles and a book to read for a year. It looked like a pretty thick book. Pretty thick book.
Yeah.
Pretty thick book. If he's a slow reader, that might last a year.
Yeah, that was a year. If he's a slow reader, that's all he's going to be reading until for a good couple of years, I think.
Until his contract's up.
Until I go to AEW.
I don't know my username is with sub. Thank you so much.
Let's see here. Hammond Serrano. I got this vibe too. I failed to mention it. He says, does tonight's vignette confirm Tien Shaw recruited Aleister Black? I mean, maybe somebody actually watches NXT and was like, holy crap. Like, that's a really cool way to sort of do an origin story because it totally had like similar vibes.
Yeah, the animation did for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Dope says Cesaro keeps getting punked by Roman. They may turn into a title win. As much I'd love to see Cesaro get a win over Roman, he's not going to.
They're going to do everything they can to make everybody look like $1 million in advance of Roman Reigns.
Speaking of ghosts, your door just opened by
I know, right? Hold on a second.
Bangers. Was that the first time Seth and Bryan have been in the ring since Bryan retired? I don't recall. I don't know.
What's the question?
Was that the first time Seth and Daniel Bryan have been in the ring opposite each other since Daniel Bryan came back from retirement? I don't know. My memory is not that good.
Has Daniel Bryan been on Raw since he's been back?
I think he's pretty much just been on SmackDown.
Because Seth is relatively new
Well, yeah.
Raw.
I mean, just in October, yeah.
Was it just October? Was just this past
Yeah,
draft?
at the draft, yeah. And then after Survivor Series, he was gone until recently.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Alex Foster, what vignettes would you give to current wrestlers who aren't doing much in order to hype them up? You know what I would do? So Apollo Crews has already had a really fantastic makeover, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So you double down on that. It's like, hey, we've already done this to show people that we're still invested in him. Give him like an animated vignette, you know? Have him like continue to do this even after you've launched somebody or relaunched somebody. You know, show us that you're still invested in it and continue to do stuff like this, not just for people who are making their debut.
Yeah, that's good. It's I'd like to see them do something interesting with Angel Garza.
Oh, that's a good one, yeah.
Dude is super talented. He's got a ton of charisma. Drugalo 612 again, gifted the sub to Dink Meme Center. Thank you so much. Jester
Design says, realize most of my... No, he says, is Jay back to being the Iron Man of WWE? He says, can't wait for Jimmy to come back so they can bring the tag titles to the island and maybe Apollo will be allied but not a part of the faction. Yeah, I'd love them to revisit that Apollo Roman Reigns thing. Like that's the thing about having. This is why I think they should not like do drastic drafts every single year. Because people like, you know, characters like that, the audience is rewarded when you revisit little things like that. Like people who watch SmackDown at this point, the 2 million or so that still watch it, are going to be people who pay attention to details like that. I think, you know. And it's like, hey, remember that one week Apollo was hanging out with Roman? How great would it be if we just saw that briefly again, you know?
Yeah. Night by Night says, this morning you noticed a moose and a squirrel holding conversation in your backyard, so you went outside to investigate further. They were very friendly, invited you to join them in all expenses paid week-long excursion to the Poconos. What SmackDown superstar do you ask to cover your responsibilities while you're away? Daniel Bryan, because after next Friday, his schedule seems to be quite open.
He'll have plenty of time. I'm going to go with Kevin Owens. I think he'd be an awesome podcast host.
Yeah. That's a great question from Zoe Kinrana. What two wrestlers should Roman stack and pin at the next two Manias?
Okay, so how about this? Ultimate Arrogance 2 years from now. Not only
The Rock.
Does he have The Rock? Yes. But he challenges The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin to a handicap match, stacks him, smashes him, stacks him, pins him.
All right, that's good. What about next year?
Brock Lesnar and
Triple H.
Oh, perfect. Oh, Cena. Brock and Cena.
That'd be good.
That'd be awesome.
Zondo, how is the writing so much better in like every respect on SmackDown? Don't they have the same writing team? Is it just Vince doesn't do last minute rewrites on Friday? It's kind of a mystery.
Doesn't it stand to maybe reason that once Raw is done, he has the rest of the week to worry about SmackDown? But like because Raw is on a Monday, I mean, I guarantee he works on Saturdays and Sundays.
Oh yeah.
But maybe something that has to do with the writing staff not being, maybe they're not going to be working as much as Vince McMahon is. I am actually kind of legitimately curious. Do you think that they are actively working on Raw Saturdays and Sundays, the whole writing staff? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe. I think hasn't Pritchard talked about going back home over the weekend though?
Yeah, but I mean, he can still work at home.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like the weekend isn't, I don't know. I don't know any other explanation. It's like he gets there late on Monday and then rewrites the whole thing. Why doesn't that seem to happen as often with SmackDown? It probably has something to do with the weekend.
Oh, it could. I mean, it could just be the short turnaround because, say Raw's done on Monday, obviously, and you have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You have 3 days dedicated to SmackDown, but after SmackDown, you only have Saturday and Sunday. You get 2 days as opposed to 3. And I wonder if, like, I know they have one large writing team, but I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know the architecture of their creative department. If they have some writers who kind of focus more on Raw than SmackDown because of that.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
I'm curious to know, like, what dude, I know we all understand that, like, they have meetings at 2:00 in the morning and all hours of day and night, but also, like, I don't know if they're Monday through Friday, look, like, they have to have days off. Like, they have to. Now, maybe for Raw staff writers, it's like Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
I don't know.
I'm curious about that. My assumption,
hit up Dave Schilling and ask him.
My assumption, based on what we've heard and read of, is yeah, they may have days off, but the expectation is if you get a phone call, you're working on your day off.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I understand that. I know. But, like, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, they've got those days in front of SmackDown. I mean, there are days in front of Raw. It's the weekend.
It's a logical explanation. No, I get that. I don't know what else it would be. Robert Channels with a pressing question here. Who do you guys got? Evil or Yano? They got a King of Pro Wrestling Provisional Championship match soon.
I know.
Evil's going to job out to Yano. That's the answer.
He is. There's no other. It's going to be something completely ridiculous because it's the King of Pro Wrestling. I gotta watch that.
Mr. Dope's calling. He's predicting this Aleister versus Roman at SummerSlam. I think that'd be a great match. It'd be awesome.
And that's what I was with Aleister in terms of debuting him. I don't know. Okay, so his whole thing is like, the people out there are the weak-minded, right? What if he appreciates what he sees in Roman Reigns? He's not coming after him, but instead of the normal thing of, he faces off with a mid-card face, he, like, makes his re-debut by aligning with Roman Reigns. What if I'm just throwing this out there. What if he's the guy instead of Jay? Because Daniel Bryan's whole thing is, well, Jay helps you every single time. What if Aleister is the guy that comes out and helps him and then holds his hand out to Roman and shakes his hand and doesn't become a subservient, but becomes an ally?
Yeah.
And then you build that story for a bit where you got these two badass heels. And then, you do that. You turn Aleister at some point. Like, that could be different.
Yeah.
Cool.
That could be different. Jorge D says, before their match, Roman decides he doesn't only want Bryan gone from SmackDown, but gone from Florida, so he doesn't have to see him at all. Bryan agrees because he wants that belt. Bryan loses and leaves Florida, but being a smart man, he knows what to do. He decides to go to NXT UK. Book how Bryan arrives at NXT UK in his first storyline feud.
His first storyline is Sam
Gradwell.
I was going to say Sam Gradwell, and Sam Gradwell has been tasked by Johnny Saint to teach Daniel Bryan how to drive on the wrong side of the road. And within minutes, it's just the most frustrating affair. He calls Daniel Bryan a yogurt, and then they have a match. That's your first feud.
I'm gonna even make it far less thought out than that. Sam Gradwell once again locked out of BT Sports Studio, but rather than Dave Mastiff opening the door for him, it's Daniel Bryan. That's how he makes his debut.
Oh, wow.
Is opening the door for Sam Gradwell. He doesn't know who Sam Gradwell is.
Yeah.
He's like, do you work here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And of course, Sam Gradwell can say, do you work here?
Yeah.
So you have an exchange, and Daniel Bryan just closes the door on him and locks it.
Let me in, Daniel. Sorry, I can't do that. No.
There you go.
That's good.
Jorge D gifted the sub to Medium Beer. Thank you so much, Jorge.
Thank you, Jorge. JTV, in kayfabe, why would Seth and Jay leave the side of the ring where wrestlers come in when trying to attack Cesaro? Because bad guys are usually like not too. Seth is he's so like cartoonishly like villainous. He's like, okay, here's the thing. I love, by the way, that the camera mics picked up. Hey, here's what we do. We surround the ring. It was it was so wonderfully cartoonishly cheesy.
Yeah, yeah. The Spider Dan, the fact that Dolph mentioned both his past feuds with Ray and Otis shows SmackDown writers do pay attention to details, or Dolph pays attention to details.
Jay Singh, will Dominic Mysterio end up retiring his dad, or a WWE not cool enough to do that? In a couple of years, I think that'd be rad. If you really let Dominic run with a character, grow his hair out a little bit. Yeah. Turns on his dad.
Yeah, have him grow a beard or something.
He's like, Dad, my first year of wrestling, you had me carry you on my back. Tired of it. I look like a fool out there.
I'm just trying to do something. When WWE start having fans back for Raw and SmackDown, who should they keep their set and who should change it? Oh, which should change their set and how should they change it? Raw had the ramp and SmackDown had Rawgate.
Yeah, that's right. They did have Rawgate. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
God, I forgot about it.
Yeah.
I hated the ramp. Not a fan of the ramp at all.
Yeah, I wasn't huge on it.
Rawgate was cool.
Apart from Kevin Owens doing that Swanton or whatever off of the cannonball, that was cool.
Yeah, it had its function. That's it. Moses Poses, assuming he stays on long term, how long until you think of Pat McAfee as SmackDown announcer rather than his work in NXT? I already do. Pat McAfee, the thing that I love about him so much is that, like, and I'm sure Adnan is a fan of WWE. I don't think he'd be doing this if he wasn't. But, like, he's not. Pat McAfee really seems to be, like, into the WWE. Like, really into it. And that's what I want. That's what I like. The dude just really seems to be into it. So I think of Pat McAfee as just, like, WWE dude who I really appreciate seeing. And it's like, oh, cool. Now he's on SmackDown. I see him like Corey Graves because Corey Graves does a lot of stuff. I don't just see Corey Graves as like just announcer guy,
Yeah. I feel like McAfee it's one thing to be a fan or to appreciate professional wrestling, which I'm sure, as you mentioned, Adnan does. But it just seems like Pat gets it on, and maybe it's because he has spent some time in the ring or he's just a quick student. I don't know. He seems to know the inner workings of how stories are told.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's able to relay that. And his job is different. His job is different than Adnan Verk's.
Yeah,
Adnan Verk's role is to call the action. Pat's job is to comment, analyze what's going on.
Yeah, but like, who do you think knows more of the move names?
Oh, probably Pat McAfee, yeah.
I think Pat McAfee could, if I think it'd be a disservice to what he brings, he could probably be a decent play-by-play guy. I do. So yeah, I think I like Pat McAfee quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, 2 weeks in, he's done a hell of a job. Hell of a job. Dang MQ, do you think Bayley is the best character in the entire WWE women's division?
Yeah, Bayley's been my favorite for a little while now. I think she's absolutely terrific. To me, I always say this, she's the Daniel Bryan of the women's division.
Go ahead.
Dusty Leonard just points out how good was Roman's promo when he pointed at his shirt and said, "That's you. You're on the bottom."
That was great.
That means you're the loser.
Hip Hop Hippo says the best part about Pat doing commentary, he's so successful on his own. He's just doing this because he wants to. Pat's just wandering around the table, standing up, calling specific move names, and making fun of Cole. He's perfect.
It is. It really is.
I don't know what my username is. Says McAfee kind of reminds me how Mike Tenay was in the old TNA, where he was super into the product, which makes me enjoy it. Yeah, you can tell he's invested.
That's all I have over here on the Patreon.
That is all I got too.
All right. Well, hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Hopefully you'll join us on Sunday over at twitch.tv/Steven Larson. We'll be doing our Impa Connecticut Rebellion pay-per-view television event.
Don't feel good about my picks at all. Really don't.
You know what, dude? There was so much passion and imagination with where you were going with your picks I hope you win. I'm going to say that. Because you know what? I got that. I want to spread the love around. I want the Enforcer to get trios. I want you to get Impact.
I thought you really wanted Ultimo. You were just saying that earlier today that you really want Ultimo. You really want to hold on to the belt so you can get the Ultimo.
Yeah, ask me tomorrow. I'll probably want something else. Anyways, what? I can't change my mind from minute to minute, second to second. Keep things exciting. Keep things unpredictable. Guess not. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Help support Going In Raw today by becoming a Friendo Club TV member. You'll get access to new bonus episodes every week, including Friendo Club Arcade, Live Power Rank, Vintage 10 for the Wins, and Ask Steven Larson. Get access to Friendo Club TV today by becoming a $5 and up patron at patreon.com/Steven Larson, by throwing us a sub at twitch.tv/Steven Larson, or by clicking join at youtube.com/Steven Larson.